How do I know if my piercing's healed or not? We're going to go through how it does that, the periods or each phase of that process. Also, how you should what you should see when it heals, and also what you should do if you're unsure if your piercing's healed or not. Coming up next on Body Piercing Basics, episode number 123. So stick around. If you're new here, first off, welcome to the channel. Hope you're enjoying the videos, but you may not know who I am. My name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, located right here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. So when I talk to you about these things, I'm talking to a level of expertise that comes from me in the body piercing industry for well over 27 years. So I'm going to break down a lot of information today. Hopefully I don't mispronounce too many words. A lot of these are medical or scientific terms that you don't use every day. I don't. Not every day. Just when I make these videos. This is probably one of the most common questions I get, and that's how do I know if this piercing is healed or not? What are the signs? Is this healed? Is it not healed, etc. I'm going to say right off the bat, and I'm going to cover this again, is if you are ever in doubt of whether or not a piercing is healed, continue the aftercare and go see your piercer and have them assess whether or not the piercing is healed. Don't change the jewelry or do anything else. Do that. And generally, we love seeing a healed piercing because that gives us an opportunity to see how our work turned out. So we're going to go through the stages. First one is the hemostasis phase. Now, this happens immediately after the piercing is done. And what happens is your body forms a scab around the piercing jewelry to kind of seal off the area, not only to cut down on blood loss, but also to cut down on the possibility of pathogens working their way into the wound. During this also, it will help stop some of that internal bleeding. The collagen fibers in the on the outside walls of your blood vessels will actually activate platelets to go in and kind of plug off the blood vessels and eliminate that possibility of more blood loss, and also to eliminate the possibility of any pathogens getting into your bloodstream and causing some problems. The next stage is called the inflammation stage, or what I like to call the acceptance stage. Basically, during this period of time, it can last anywhere from 3 to 5 days. So now the first part, about maybe a day. The second part, about 3 to 5 days. During this phase, your body's white blood cells move into the area. They clean out the wound. They get rid of dead skin cells, or they get rid of dead cells, and they kind of get rid of all the debris that was caused by the trauma and force of the piercing. Basically, they're kind of the cleaning crew. They get everything nice and spick and span so that your body can move on to the next stage of healing the piercing. They also are fighting off the possibility of any pathogens getting in and helping to keep that blood from going places it's not supposed to. Now, what happens at the time is your blood produces, or your blood flow to the area increases. Now, this will cause the redness, discolorization, heat, tenderness of touch, inflammation, and also during this period of time, it can kind of secrete kind of a clear or white discharge. It can kind of be a little bit more liquid than it is later in the healing process. That's normal. It's a way for your body to get rid of some of that junk it's been piling up. So when people call and they're like, it's sore, it's red, and it's pussy, and I go, hey, how long ago did we do the piercing? And they go, yesterday. My response is always, that's normal. Give it time. It will pass. Like I said, this will last anywhere from 3 to 5 days. Basically, it's normal. It's part of the process of the healing of a piercing. Before I get in there any further, if you like it, finding this helpful, please give us a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. I like it when you like it. Also, share with other people if you think they can find this information helpful. And if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you're notified every single time we post something. So now let's move on to the next stage, which is probably the longest and the most consistent. Well, not the longest, but the second longest, but the part that we most focus on when we're talking about aftercare and et cetera. And that's the healing period. During this period of time, fibroblasts move into the area. Now, these are very interesting cells. Basically, they produce collagen, and then they slowly kind of contract and expand and contract and expand and pull that collagen and create new tissue slowly from the outside inward. During this phase, your body's going to produce discharge off and on. That's normal. It's less going to be tender to the touch, and it is acceptable to trauma or other problems. During this period of time, it's not advised to change jewelry because that tissue doesn't connect until it's completely healed. There are situations where maybe a jewelry change is needed because the jewelry that's in there is causing damage because it's too long or too short or what have you. So that would be the only situation. And even in those instances, I would only suggest having your piercer do it. Once that tissue connects in the center, the piercing is considered healed. Now, there is additional things that happen, and the next one is the maturing or the seasoning phase. During this time, your body will increase the thickness of that wall of tissue and also grow away from the jewelry slightly, kind of increase the hole in size. This process can take anywhere from 6 months to 2-3 years. Everybody's different. This is a period of time we generally suggest after the healing, waiting until you stretch a piercing because we want that to thicken up and move away from the jewelry. Before I move on to the rest of the video, if you like merch, you like swag, you like t-shirts, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. There's also one of those merch bars down below if you want to check them out real quick. Signs of whether or not the piercing is healed. The first thing you're going to notice is those piercing holes kind of turn inward. Good rule of measure is if you kind of feel the edges of your ear, the entrance to your ear canal, you'll notice they're not flat, they're not squared off, they're kind of rounded. That's what we're going for because that usually is a sign that the tissue has connected in the center and it'll kind of pull inward. Keep in mind that as your body's healing it, and those fibroblast cells, basically what they're doing is they keep pulling and pulling against that tissue. So once it connects in the center, it kind of has like a more bond and pulls inward. The other thing is the discharge will reduce or in some cases completely stop. Sometimes your body will produce additional discharge even after the piercing has gone through the healing stage, but for the most part, it stops pretty regularly. Now, the next thing is the jewelry will move freely through the piercing. Now, that doesn't mean you force it and it goes through there or there's pain involved. It should move or slide through there fairly easily. If you feel like you're forcing it or it hurts, stop doing that. You're probably causing damage. Lastly, what should you do if you think it's healed but you're unsure? First and foremost, continue with your cleaning regimen, practice cross-contamination prevention, isolate the piercing, do everything you're supposed to do to avoid infection or other problems until you know for sure. It's not going to hurt it if it's healed and you continue to do that. It's going to be more of a risk if you stop doing it and the piercing isn't healed completely. The other thing is do not change the jewelry. I know that's the thing everybody is dying to do. Give it more time. Let it completely heal. You always want to make sure that it's healed before you change it because there's always that possibility of either not be able to get the jewelry back in or causing damage or other issues when you try to insert that new jewelry. And that's why I generally suggest seeing a piercer and have them do it. Mainly because we have a lot of tools to do that. If you absolutely have to change it, I would suggest using a guide pin. The other thing is just if you're unsure, your best option is to go see your piercer, have them take a look at it. We love seeing piercings to decide whether or not they're healed or not because a lot of times we don't get to see them. So watching our work go through that process and knowing, hey, you did a great job is part of our job that we enjoy. If it doesn't seem like it's healed yet, we'll generally give you a rough estimate of how much more time you should take care of it, and you can always stop back later. Well, that's all I have to say on this subject today. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see your body piercing needs in the future. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in one of the other videos. Maybe that one or that one or that one. I don't know.